Are you building a life or are you just meticulously organizing your anxieties? It's a haunting question because on the surface, everything looks impressive. The planner is color coded, the calendar is optimized, the morning routine runs like clockwork. The 5 a.m. workup, the journaling, the supplements lined up like soldiers. The apps sync, the systems hum, and the notifications provide a steady drip of validation. We have never been more on top of things. But here's the uncomfortable possibility. What if all that order isn't vision? What if it's fear in a tuxedo? We're living in the golden age of productivity porn. Scroll any platform and you'll see pristine desks, aesthetic dashboards, hyper disciplined Sunday resets, entire identities built around efficiency. Order is seductive. It promises safety. It whispers, if you just structure enough, nothing will surprise you. Nothing will derail you. But life never signed that contract. Organization begins as a tool, and then it becomes a coping mechanism. Finally, it becomes an identity. You aren't just someone with a system. You've become the person who must maintain the system. You trade spontaneity for containment. You haven't built a life, you've built a cage, and you've polished the bars until they shine. And the tragedy is this: the cage feels responsible, it feels mature, it feels like progress.
Control never appears without a reason. Anxiety is a brilliant architect. It designs systems that looks like discipline but function like defensive walls. If I can forecast every risk, I won't be embarrassed. If I can optimize every outcome, I won't fail. If I can prepare for every possibility, I won't be rejected. Underneath productivity is fear of uncertainty. We live in a fundamentally unpredictable world, yet instead of learning to swim in that ocean, we try to construct a seawall against it. Society reinforces it relentlessly. Have it together, stay ahead, don't fall behind. But what does together actually mean? Often it means emotionally composed, financially secure, relationally stable, physically optimized. Simultaneously, it means curated competence. In the legend of the Fisher King, a ruler obsessed with preserving order, he slowly drains the vitality from his kingdom. The land becomes barren, not because he is careless, but because he is rigid. He stops listening to the living rhythms of the land and clings to structure. Protection becomes suffocation. Over optimization is avoidance dressed as ambition. It's easier to reorganize your workflow than to confront the conversation you're postponing. It's easier to refine your strategy than to admit you don't know what you truly want. We treat ambiguity like a flaw, yet every meaningful chapter in your life began in ambiguity. You didn't have guarantees when you fell in love. You didn't have certainty when you changed direction. You had willingness, and willingness is the opposite of control.
So, how do we distinguish life building from fear managing? Life building is value driven, fear managing is avoidance driven. Life building asks, is this aligned with who I want to become? Fear managing asks, how do I prevent the worst? One expands you, the other shrinks you. When Ernest Shackleton's ship Endurance was crushed by Antarctic ice in 1914, no contingency plan could save them. Survival required abandoning the blueprint entirely. It required adaptability, courage, and a steady presence in chaos. Every man survived not because events were controlled, but because they were met. Real builders, real builders don't eliminate uncertainty, they metabolize it. They treat unpredictability as terrain, not threat. But if you buffer yourself from every unforeseen possibility, you lose the capacity to handle it. We build financial cushions, social cushions, emotional cushions until nothing touches us. But nothing grows in a padded cell. Growth requires friction. It requires contact with unpredictability. Recently, a tech founder admitted he had engineered his life to the minute. Meals measured, meetings scripted, leisure scheduled. On paper, he had mastery. In reality, he hadn't felt joy in years. His life was efficient, but hollow. He wasn't living, he was executing. That's not control. That's captivity disguised as competence.
There is a cost to constant containment, and it's often invisible. Creativity is messy, it requires space. Jazz works because of improvisation. The space between the notes is where the music breathes. Structure supports the art, but too much structure suffocates it. When every minute is accounted for, you suffocate serendipity. Think about the most important relationships in your life. Did you schedule meeting these people? Or did it just happen through an accident, a delay, a spontaneous decision? Serendipity requires unscripted time. If you are perpetually prepared, you are perpetually unavailable to surprise, to depth, to discovery. Free time isn't a productivity gap, it's an incubation. Even nature resists over control. The forest grows through cycles of chaos and renewal, storms, fires, decay, rebirth. Diversity emerges from unpredictability. You are an organism, not an algorithm. You cannot optimize your way into being fully alive. And here's the deeper cost: over organization numbs intuition. When every decision is calculated, you stop listening, you stop sensing, you start reacting to spreadsheets instead of responding to your own inner direction.
So, what does embracing the unstructured actually look like? It doesn't mean abandoning responsibility, it means auditing intent. Which routines serve your values and which serve your anxiety? Where are you optimizing for vision and where are you optimizing from fear? What would remain if you stopped performing control? The Wright brothers flew, knowing it could fail. Their early attempts wobbled. They risked embarrassment and injury. Failure wasn't avoided, it was integrated. If you remove the possibility of mess, you remove the possibility of mastery. We need steadier selves, not tighter systems. A steady self can face uncertainty without collapsing. A steady self can hear bad news without spiraling. A steady self can step into something new without 5 layers of backup plans. Resilience isn't staying in control, it's remaining grounded when control dissolves. There's also something cultural happening here that we rarely question. We confuse motion with meaning. If we're busy refining, adjusting, calibrating, we feel purposeful. Stillness feels irresponsible. Pausing feels dangerous. But sometimes the refusal to pause is the very thing keeping you from clarity. Ancient sailors navigated without GPS. They didn't control the sea, they read it. They studied wind patterns and stars. Navigation was relational, not domineering. The ocean wasn't conquered, it was respected. Modern life trains us to conquer everything, including ourselves. We track our sleep, our steps, our calories, and our conversations. We try to eliminate inefficiency from our humanity. But humanity is inefficient. It wanders, it reflects, it experiments. And that wandering is where insight lives.
And maybe this is the deeper invitation: not to abandon structure, but to soften your attachment to it. Structure is a tool, anxiety is a driver. When anxiety drives, structure becomes rigid. When intention drives, structure becomes supportive. Ask yourself this week, if I weren't afraid, would I still be doing this? Would you still be over planning that presentation, refreshing that email, perfecting that system? Sometimes the bravest move isn't adding another layer of preparation, it's pressing send, it's showing up imperfectly, it's letting life respond. The illusion of control promises safety, but participation offers vitality. Maybe the goal isn't to have it all together, maybe it's to be responsive, grounded, adaptive, to build something meaningful, even if it's imperfect and partially unplanned.
So as you look at your to-do list, look beyond the tasks. Look at the posture behind them. Are you building a life, or are you organizing your anxieties so beautifully that even you can't see them? Are you remaining the blueprint or actually inhabiting the house? Because one path leads to quiet containment.
And the other leads to aliveness, the unpredictable, unfinished, deeply human experience of growth.
The choice isn't in your planner.
It's in your willingness to be surprised.
If something in this conversation unsettled you in a good way, don't just move on. Sit with it. Let it work on you a little. And if you know someone who's been mistaking control for clarity, share this with them. These conversations grow through people who are willing to question the obvious. If you value this kind of dialogue, the kind that doesn't hand you noise, but invites you to think, then like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss what's next. We're building something thoughtful here, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. Until next time, think differently, dream boldly, and create consciously.
Yay.
Now, how are you talking about food? Like you're going to grab a snack or you're going to do the dinner bit? But if you do the dinner
That's
bit,
not
will that
good. Why didn't